Elliot Kapoor had just started his afternoon shift in the operations room at Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport when Flight AI171's clearance code blinked green. The long-haul service from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick was routine. Boeing 7878 Dreamliner, call sign Air India 171, cruising weight just under 230 tons. Yet, even before the aircraft rolled onto runway 23, something about the check-in data tugged at Elliot's attention. The load sheet showed almost every seat occupied, cargo holds stacked with personal baggage for a festival rush, and a near-full fuel load, 100 tons, despite a healthy tailwind forecast. Heavy, he thought, but still inside limits. Out on the apron, Captain Sumit Sabharwal and First Officer Clive Kundar had completed their final checklist. Sabharwal, with 22 years of line flying and a reputation for silky smooth departures, ran his gloved hand over the throttles, feeling the engine's low content vibration. In the cabin, 241 passengers buckled in. A baby wailed, a student slipped headphones on, and a grandmother thumbed prayer beads. No one sensed how narrow the margin was about to become. At 13:39 local, 0809 GMT, the aircraft began its takeoff roll. Elliot, monitoring from the tower, watched the nose gear lift. Main wheels skip free of asphalt. Engine howl echoed across the field, then receded as the jet climbed through a hot, shimmering afternoon. The Dreamliner crossed runway end at barely 140 knots, gear retracting. And then Elliot saw the pitch freeze. Instead of surging skyward, the aircraft hugged low over the perimeter wall, nose bobbing, wings wobbling. His screen flashed a transponder code, 7700, general emergency. A second later, the radio crackled. Captain Sabharwal's voice clipped, urgent. Mayday! Mayday! Air India 171, dual engine power loss! The transmission cut mid-sentence. 3 kilometers northwest, Nidhi Shah, a shopkeeper in the Motera district, glanced up at a shadow sweeping across rooftops. She later told reporters she could see the airline logo so clearly she read the letters backwards on the belly. The jet's left wing dipped. She heard a hollow bang. The aircraft leveled again but seemed to sag, as if air had thickened to syrup. It cleared the last line of houses by meters, disappeared behind a hospital block. Then, an orange bloom, a roar, and windows rattled for miles. Elliot's console fell silent. The data feed ended at 625 feet, 190 meters. Then, nothing. He slammed a palm on the desk, already issuing coordinates to crash response teams. When the blackened tail section finally cooled, investigators from India's AAIB lined up beside scorched debris, joined by technicians from Boeing and GE Aerospace. Captain Ravi Deshmukh, lead investigator, moved through wreckage with measured steps. He found instruments frozen, engine N1 and N2 both reading 0, flap selectors apparently set for takeoff. Yet the left wing's leading edge slats were only half deployed. He filed that away. The cockpit voice recorder, miraculously intact, played out in the hangar that night. A hiss of static, then Sabharwal. Engine pressure's unstable. We're losing thrust. Monitor right. Flaps confirm 1-5. Power set. Why aren't we climbing? A stall warning blared. Kundar called for checklist items. 28 seconds after liftoff came the bang Nidhi had heard, the right engine's compressor surge. 5 seconds later, both men recited a terse prayer. The recording ended in cascading alarms. Speculation poured in. Social media sleuths proposed a bird strike. As Ahmedabad Airport's apron crews well knew, gulls prowled the waste ground beyond the perimeter. Others argued fuel starvation. citing whispers of contaminated Jet A1 from a refueling truck earlier that morning. A retired Air Force captain phoned talk shows insisting it must be flap misconfiguration. Hot temperatures, maximum takeoff weight, insufficient lift. Yet Deshmukh kept returning to that Mayday phrase. Dual engine power loss. 2 GNX engines quitting simultaneously was virtually unheard of. He pulled fuel samples from hydrant lines. Clear, no water, normal viscosity. Blade damage? The fan stages bore no bird remains, only minor pitting. Then a junior engineer found scoring on a fuel metering unit. A clog of waxy residue. Lab tests revealed polymer additives far above spec, traces of a cleaning solvent never intended for flight decks. Maintenance logs showed both engines had undergone a routine wash 2 nights earlier. A subcontractor's name appeared whom no one on Deshmukh's team recognized. Meanwhile, Elliot could not shake what he had witnessed. He met Sabharwal's widow during memorial services. She asked whether her husband had said anything else on the radio. Elliot lied kindly, only that he was trying everything. At home, he replayed ATC tapes, noting the gap between rotation and the Mayday, 8 seconds. If a blockage starved fuel pumps, the engines would spool down fast, but avionics should switch to the ram air turbine. Witness videos showed no ARAT deployed. Had electrical systems failed too? A week later, Boeing engineers traced wires in the burnt fuselage and uncovered melted insulation near the APU feeder line. A short circuit could have killed power buses, disabling auto-deploy of the RAT. Combine that with sudden fuel flow loss, engines flaming out, no hydraulics, heavy aircraft, searing 40-degree air. Sabharwal had maybe 10 seconds of marginal thrust, nowhere near enough altitude for a glide. Deshmukh compiled the chain. Improper chemical used in engine wash, polymer coagulated in metering valves, engines starved at rotation. Electrical arc, cause still unknown, prevented emergency backup. Crew followed protocol, but altitude and weight doomed them. The Dreamliner sank back onto the city. At the final press briefing, Deshmukh stood beneath photographs of the victims. "This was not pilot error," he said. Captain Sabharwal and First Officer Kundar were confronted with simultaneous failures no simulator fully replicates. Our task now is to ensure the maintenance practices that led to those failures can never recur. For Elliot, the lesson was more visceral. In aviation, the margin between ordinary and catastrophe is measured in seconds and millimeters. Each time he cleared a heavy jet for departure, he pictured the Dreamliner's silhouette over Ahmedabad's rooftops, and he listened, more intently than ever, for the confident lift of engines straining into hot sky, hoping they would keep their promise to climb.